Hello and welcome to the RotoWire Esports Show. My name is Ethan Sexton, and here as always, DFS Chan. Chan, how's it going today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. What a chalky slate today. But I think Hanwha Life in the LCK may be able to make the playoffs this split.
Yeah, they're starting to come around a bit. They still don't look great. I don't think they can win the league or anything, but yeah, they might be able to climb into one of the final playoff spots. But they might be destined for a first-round exit, But yeah, they're certainly righting the ship a bit here. Another win over a team right around them in the standings in KT, so took them down 2-1. Actually scored pretty decently, 45 kills across 3 games, which is okay. If you lose a game, obviously you're not going to get that many kills normally, so it wasn't too bad for them. Any other real thoughts on that series? I mean, KT, good enough to take a game, but couldn't take the series. I think they're still just kind of an average team.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Hanwha, like you said, I think they're starting to gain momentum, and they're sticking to the 5-man that they had been playing the past 3 series now with Dudu and Arthur at jungle. So they're starting to gain some momentum, and they can be a scary team as evidenced by their spring split performance. So we'll see what happens with them. But I think KT is gonna be fighting for that last spot in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, I think both those teams may be destined for one of the final playoff spots. In the other LCK series, DRX finally came out. They got their first win of the summer, taking down Fred at Breon. Not very good series for DFS though. The first 2 games, DRX had 12 kills before going off for 18 in the final game. So for DFS purposes, it wasn't very good. But DRX picking up a win with their new members. Solka did remain in the lineup, so he didn't come out. But the new bot lane was in there, and it made the difference at least today.
Yeah, and you totally called it, Ethan. So, props to you. So, I think the bottom lane, like you said, especially June, their new support. I know he won the player of the game in game 1 when they beat Breon. So, I think the new bottom lane for DRX is going to make a difference. But like you said, any DRX match, even if they lose, even when they lose or win, they're not going to score well. And the opponents thereof. So, I think any DRX match, you can kind of toss them out, in my opinion, unless they're playing against, let's say, Hanwha Life or, some other, fast teams in the LCK. I think most likely DRX is kind of just, DRX games are just out of the pool, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unless they really start coming together here with this new bottom lane moving forward, which I'm not sure they will. I am glad that they replaced Bao and Becca, though, because they were awful. So gave them a boost today, but against some of the better teams, I don't think it's going to matter. And like you said, for DFS purposes, we're not really going to care too much at all about DRX. Over in China, basically as we thought would happen, Rare Adam with a 2-0 clean sweep, only 26 kills, though. They didn't score well at all today.
Yeah, I think I joked about this in the Discord, but I think they'll fit right in the LCK. Yep. With their slow pace of style. We talked about this, so I'll save it. If you want to go back, watch our last video. talking about Rare Adam, they tend to play slow and they tend to just take only necessary fights around objectives. They play, a lot of the macro style. So, I think every time Rare Adam plays, I think they're mostly going to win their games. It's just they're not going to score well. So, I think they're definitely a worth short stack consideration, for DFS purposes.
Yeah, for sure. And then in the final game of the day, Top Esports with a one-sided sweep of Victory 5. They also couldn't get to 40 kills, but at least they got to 36, I guess.
They kind of played with their food in the first game. Jackie Love was just throwing bodies to himself. He was just being Jackie Love. He got called out at least like 3-4 times that I watched in the first 20 minutes of the gameplay. And actually Victory 5 had a chance in the first game, in my opinion. But I think in the mid game and late game, I think, Victory 5 was giving up a lot of objectives, including Baron. I think that just comes from the inexperience that, the lack of experience that they, have with this squad, with this starting 5. So I think Victory 5, is going to get better. But for now, I think there's just so much talent gap and team communication gap amongst these elite teams, and then Victory 5 and other poor teams and low down in the standings.
Yeah, I agree with you. I V5 are basically just in the league to get beat right now. Maybe they can find a win at some point before the split's over, but I mean, right now, even the teams just above them, like your Ultra Primes, Thunder Talks, Rogue Warriors, I mean, even they look just on a different, like Victory 5 are just on a different level of bad.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, but hey, let's jump over to tomorrow's slate, kick things off with what has historically been a great matchup in the LCK, Gen G and T1 facing off against each other here. Gen G are minus 210 favorites. They deserve to be favorites based on the way this has gone so far this year. This is, according to your combined kills per minute metric that you love to use, and you posted, this is the slowest game on the slate. It feels like an avoid for DFS. I wouldn't pay up for Gen G as favorites. Do you agree with that? Or, are you lopping this off completely because it's going to be a very slow series, it looks like? Or do you think, Gen G as a favorite you would take a look at, or T1 as an underdog?
I'm not playing T1. I think Gen G is worth the consideration. I only say I'm not playing T1 because I just feel like they haven't been in good form. And it's most likely going to be a Gen G win here. But even if T1 wins, there's not much of a kill upside here. So right. Yeah, I mean, I think Gen G most likely going to win in my opinion, but I think they're worth a cash consideration just based on how poor T1's form has been. And I think Gen G coming off of a loss against Damwon Gaming. But Damwon played really well against Gen G in that series. So I don't think it's a knock on Gen G. So I think Gen G is going to come out firing, trying to bounce back off the loss against T1. So I think Gen G is going to win here 2-0. In my opinion, I think Gen G has been the best team in the LCK so far. Despite their last loss, I mean, they're going to have a letdown game here and there, but overall they've been the most consistent team in the LCK. But for DFS purposes, yeah, I mean, I think this game has the lowest combined kills per minute or the kill pace amongst the 4 games on the slate. So yeah, I mean, but I think it's worth the cash consideration, but I would not play Gen G for, any GPP lineups.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Just looks like on paper it's going to be too slow of a series, honestly, with not the kill totals, ceilings that we really want.
Yeah. And I do think their ownership is going to be really high, in my opinion, because, I mean, people love to play one like heavy favorite LPL. I mean, this is the trend that I've been noticing in cash games. I mean, people have been just choosing one LPL team, most likely the bigger favorite of LPL team, and then playing the bigger favorite LCK team, hoping that they win and stuff. So I think that's been a trend lately in the cash contests. So it's going to be interesting to see what the ownership's going to be for Gen G. But I mean, just the fact that the other LCK matchup is basically a toss up, just based on the Vegas odds. I think Gen G's ownership is going to be through the roof in cash contests.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. The perceived safety of them is pretty good, and you don't really have to pay the top dollar for them either, so you get a little salary savings. You mentioned the other LCK matchup, Sandbox versus Afrika. You mentioned it being basically a pick'em. So Sandbox 5-4, Afrika 5-4. Sandbox have one more map win, so they are just ahead of them in the standings based off that. Who do you like here, Chen? I mean, this again, the combined kills per minute really not very good for this one either. The second slowest, marginally quicker than the T1 Gen G series. So, who do you think takes this one? And this is looking to me like another avoid for DFS purposes.
Okay, so hear me out, Ethan. So for me, at least when I approach DFS, at least League of Legends DFS, I think there are two ways of approaching it, and a lot of different touts, approach it one of two ways, and I try to use both. One is based on the fact who's gonna win the game, right? Like who's gonna win the series. And then the second way is just looking at the kill pace, like I do for combined kills per minute. So because for me, like looking at the Africa, and if Africa were to win, I mean their combined kills per minute and their wins versus combined with Sandbox's combined kills per minute and their losses. I mean, it's at 1.28. It looks like. I mean, that's so low. I mean, in the event that Africa wins. So I don't even know if Africa is even worth playing, for GPP purposes. I'm definitely not going to play any of these teams for cash game because I feel like there are enough options, two LPL favorites and then Genji here for me to choose from, for cash purposes. But for GPP, I'm definitely not going to play Africa just based on that metric. So that tells me, I think Sandbox, I'm considering Sandbox for that purpose. Now, if I were to just analyze based on the matchup, I mean, I like Sandbox still. So I think that kind of affirms my, Sandbox choice because, I mean, I feel like the Sandbox has been playing much better in their, in their jungle and their top, obviously, Summit and Krakow. I think they're going to match up very well against Keen for Africa, who's been their best player. I think Africa's win condition is really tied to Keen kind of carrying that team lately. Yep. So I just like that matchup for Sandbox and their jungling advantage there. So I think I'm gonna go with Sandbox here for some GPP lineups.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I do agree. I think it's the Keen show for Africa, and I think Summit is good enough to not feed against Keen if he can help it. So I lean Sandbox here too, but for DFS, I don't really like the series at all. A couple series we might like for DFS, though, we are going to like for DFS, are both in China, as per usual. Kicking off China tomorrow is a pretty interesting matchup between Suning and OMG. Suning are the second biggest favorites on the slate at minus 250. In terms of DraftKings pricing, though, they are the most expensive across the board, except for in the support role where Crisp is a little more expensive than On. Do you agree with that? Both the odds and the pricing. Do you think Suning deserve to be this big of favorites?
No, hell no.
I'm bummed out. I should have went first because I like OMG here. I don't know if you'll agree with me or not. I like OMG here, and it's simply because, Chan, the rule with Suning, as we talk about a lot, they beat the teams below them in the standings, and they lose to the teams above them in the standings. So, yes, they are coming off a big win over RNG. Well, RNG is below them in the standings. So that's why they won. Well, OMG are ahead of them still. Suning are in 11th. OMG are in 7th. I swear it happens like this all the time where Suning beat the teams below them and lose to the teams above them. And I think combined with the cheapness of OMG and the kills per minute, combined kills per minute metric that you shared, this looks like a pretty good spot for OMG at low ownership.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely don't think Suning should be that big of a favorite. OMG, like you said, is above Suning on the standings, and they've been playing well. I mean, they dropped a series or two lately, but it was against tough teams, and I feel like OMG's Cream and Abel, their carries have been playing pretty well. So I feel like they can match up pretty well against Suning. Now, I'm a little worried about their top lane, New versus Ben. I know Ben has been, their carry for Suning a lot in a lot of their wins. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I feel like OMG, it should be more of an even odds game, in my opinion. So, but yeah, I mean, and also like OMG has been, like I said, has been playing against some elite teams and has battle tested. And I know Suning just beat RNG, but I just feel like RNG was in a bad spot then, back then. So I just feel like, OMG, it's going to definitely, in my GPP pool, I think OMG is definitely worth the consideration. And I can definitely see some people playing OMG players and cash lineups too. Just because they see the standings. Some people just look at the odds, but then some people also look at the standings, see where they're at. and OMG is ahead of Suning. So yeah, I mean, this is a tough one, I think, to call because Suning also has been kind of fair, playing, gaining momentum and playing much better lately. But I definitely don't think they should be, that this big of a favorite.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, if you look at these two lineups, I would take Suning all day. But in reality, they just don't play up. They're not playing up to the potential we saw last year. So I think I give OMG a good shot here, and you get a ton of salary savings with them. Which maybe you can use to play FPX in the next matchup. FPX and LGD, this is the fastest series of the day by the combined kills per minute metric by quite a bit, actually, 1.88. Yeah, I mean, so Nuguri is out. I don't think he got benched from what I was hearing from some people. He's got some health issues going on right now, I guess. He hasn't been playing that well, though, so it's not that surprising, I guess. So Zhao Lahu, I don't know, man. I got to hear it tomorrow to be able to say it. He's going to come in. Do you think that one move, Nuguri out, new top laner in, pushes a lot of people to LGD in this matchup?
Not a lot of people, because they're such a big favorite. But they're the biggest favorite by a small margin over Suning. They're at minus 275 based on the last time I checked. But yeah, I don't think so. I mean, Xiao Lao, who first of all is not even in the DK DraftKings player pool yet. I don't know if they're going to add him or not. So if you were to long stag FPX, you only have 4 players to play.
He is in there, Chan. He wasn't, and then I just got on there a little bit ago, and he was in there. Actually, DraftKings are pretty good about that for the most part now, getting the players in. So.
That's awesome. He is in there. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know much about Xiao Lao Hu. But
you were laughing at me. You can't say it either.
Well, Well,
we got to hear it, right? Who knows?
I know. I was listening to the other day. I mean, just unrelated to this, but Xiao Cao Bao. You remember? Yep. Apparently, Xiao Chao Bao. Apparently,
yeah. So anyway, I don't know, man. It doesn't even help to hear it half the time because one caster will say it one way and one will say it a different way. So whatever.
Yeah.
We're doing our best here.
These are also the LPL English casters we listen to. So who knows if they're accurate. Anyway, So I digress. So yeah, FPX, I think the ownership is still going to be high. I think they're going to be the highest owned team or player pool, team pool. You know what I mean? So amongst everybody here on the slate, I do think LGD is a live GPP dog, though. I think, Shadow has been playing pretty well. And actually for FPX, I know, like you said, Nuguri is not playing this game, but there is rumor that Bo is coming back very soon. Apparently, according to that same Twitter account that talked about the Shy coming back in the next series.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it looks like the Shy is coming back for Invictus Gaming, and Bo might be coming back for FPX to replace Tian in jungle. So what does that mean for Tian and the rest of the team? I mean, I think Tian, was benched, because of Bo in last season. And I feel like, Tian may be more motivated to play here. To play better here, just based on that rumor. I'm just building some narratives out, but yeah, I mean, I feel like FPX will be high owned, and I think they should, they deserve to be the favorite, just because they have been a little more consistent than LGD, even though FPX's team fights have been kind of, dismal the last 2 series or so. I mean, they were upset in their last series. I forgot who it was. It was against a bad team, so. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're making this change because they've been so volatile in their team fights and their team play. And I do think they should be a favorite. Now, like I said, LGD on the other side of the matchup has been playing pretty well. I do think, they're a playoffs team. So I think Shadow and ZA match up pretty well against Tian and Doinbi. I know Doinbi has been playing pretty well too. But I mean, I just feel like this is a very close matchup, and I don't agree with the odds again. I feel like FPX shouldn't be this big of a favorite, in my opinion. So at both LPL matchups, I feel like the odds should be closer.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think both LGD and OMG definitely live dogs here. Two teams that have been pretty good this year, and they're getting a little disrespected, especially by the DraftKings pricing, because the odds aren't too crazy like we see sometimes with LPL series, but the pricing is with Suning and FPX as the two largest favorites is a little off for me, but so I think both those teams are live underdogs as well. I do think FPX are going to win this series though, but wouldn't be surprised if they lost. So I can definitely see playing both sides for sure.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, this is the matchup. The FPX game is the matchup that you want to target for DFS purposes, either side of LGD or FPX, depending on who you think will win. And yeah, I mean, another, I feel like LPL heavy slate in terms of the kill upside. But as you saw today, I mean, Hanwha Life scored very well. But I mean, Hanwha Life is one of those exceptions in the LCK. They always tend to score well when they win. Now, like I said, I mean, as analyzed earlier, I feel like Sandbox is probably the only LCK team that I will consider in this slate. And then, literally, I mean, all four LPL teams, in my opinion, I mean, they're going to be in my GPP pool. So we'll see what happens. But for cash, I mean, I think, it's kind of clear that people are going to want to play FPX just based on the odds and then the kill upside, but also kind of like how Top Esports was today. But obviously FPX is a smaller favorite than Top Esports was this morning. And then, Suning and Gen.G, but, I'm not that confident that Suning will win. So people will flock to Gen.G, and like I said, the trends in the cash contest have been one LPL team and then one LCK team. And like you said, Ethan, I mean, Gen.G is very cheap on the slate, so I think people are gonna have high ownership on Gen.G in cash contests.
Yeah, for sure. Chin, anything else? I think we gave a pretty good summary there, especially there at the end. You kind of added a few more things. So anything else you wanted to go over before we call it a day?
No, I think that's it. And if people want to ask, if people are interested in knowing about like which players to target, feel free to, hop on the Discord channel. Like Ethan said, I mean, we'd be happy to help you based on the kill participation or kill share percentages for those players for their respective teams. So we're happy to do that. Just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best way to do that is to go to rotowire.com/try. Get yourself a free 10-day trial, no credit card required to RotoWire. And then when you're there, you can go to rotowire.com/chat. That will give you the instructions on how to join the subscriber Discord channel. So, Chan, thanks for joining me as always, man. Good advice. Really appreciate it. Breaking down the slate. Good luck to you tomorrow. And I will talk to you hopefully tomorrow about Saturday's slate.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ethan.